right, ladies and gentlemen, it is another week, another episode of Reliving the Lights, a Friday Night Lights rewatch podcast. My name is Josh Kuipers.
My name is Anthony Hookman.
And we've got something extra special. Anthony, it's a finale week.
Can't do it without a guest.
Got to have a guest. You think back to season 1, we had Platt's own Julie Taylor, Chase Hurt, if you remember. Season 2, we had the significant others on to give the feminine perspective on Friday Night Lights. This season, just a couple of bozos is what we've got planned. We are very excited to have 2 former Panthers, not the Dillon Panthers, but the Platt Black Panthers with us. We've got Austin Ringling and Miles Kuiper. And guys, I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves. Tell us what you're about. Just know that this podcast goes out from Laos to the West Indies. And so as much as you want to let the world know about yourself, sounds good. But Austin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe your history with Friday Night Lights?
Yeah, my name is Austin Ringling. I now live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, but I hail from Platt. I guess I've known Josh ever since I can remember, I guess.
Yep.
My parents and Josh's parents were very good friends, and I basically grew up at Josh's house. So we could go on for days and days about that. Anthony was in my class, and I guess I started watching Friday Night Lights. It was probably about season 4 or 5 is when I got into it. And first couple episodes, I thought, this is kind of more of a soap opera type of deal. Not really into it. Stuck it out for about 5-6 episodes, and then I was all in. And I don't really get into watching too many shows for a long period of time. So I got hooked on it. And once I heard you guys' podcast, I've been listening every week, and have been along for the whole ride. It's been great.
Nice. So you started in season 4 or 5, and then did you just watch then and then go back and see the earlier seasons?
I watched 4 or 5 episodes, got into it, then went back and started from the beginning. And it obviously made a lot more sense then, but the beginning was actually the beginning I loved a lot more actually than season 4 and 5. So
fair.
That's when I really got into it. Yeah, really enjoyed it. So
yeah, we'll get more into your Black Panther history specifically in a little bit, but let's go over to Miles. Miles, down there, our current resident Texan. So he's bringing the Texas perspective. What are you doing down there in Texas, Miles?
Yeah, so I moved to Texas about 8 years ago. Kind of my background, growing up in Platt, South Dakota, with both Josh and Anthony. I was actually in the same class as Josh, and I had the utmost pleasure of touching Josh's butt for 6 consecutive years as he was the center.
About that connection you guys have.
Yeah,
it's very intimate. Yeah,
it runs pretty deep.
Yeah, as he was the center and I was the quarterback from middle school all the way up into our senior year of high school. So got to know Josh real well.
I was just thinking about that today, like. With that hand up in there, like that is just nestled in the most, like there's nobody else that has touched me there, Miles. That's
I'm glad I could be the first and the last.
Yeah.
So
was Josh.
I feel honored.
Yeah.
So and then after high school, I went to the University of Sioux Falls, and then from there, I went and got my doctorate of physical therapy degree out in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what brought me to Texas. And now I actually get to be on the sidelines and witness Friday Night Lights firsthand, kind of being part of the medical staff for the Geyer High School down here.
I didn't realize that. I didn't know that you were, actually literally right there in the thick of it. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. It's been a pretty fun gig so far. So.
Well, guys, we are very, very excited to have you both aboard. I'm sure, there are lots of stories to tell. We'll appreciate both of your perspective on the episode. We got a great episode to talk about, so let's get into it. Before we move into the episode proper, I got to know what everybody's drinking tonight. So let's start with our guests. Austin, what are you cracking open this evening?
So I am tonight drinking a Golden Road mango cart, which I was just introduced to today. I have a friend here in town named Derek, who's actually a booze distributor. We were over at their house for a birthday party today. He said, "Got to try this. I like fruity beer, especially in the summertime."
Yep.
So he gave me this mango cart. Man, it is awesome. And he also he also gave me a couple of them to take home, and he said I have to mix it with Kona Big Wave. I was like, dude, you don't mix beer. That just seems ridiculous. But so I'm drinking one singular now. Maybe a little later here, I might maybe at the end, I'll mix them and give you a review on that. But,
yeah.
That's real good though. Very good.
Beer distributor. That's a good friend to have.
He's a great friend to have. Yeah, it's quite the stash at his house.
Nice.
Got a Joe McCoy of your own.
He is the stud of studs for sure.
What you got, Miles?
I am actually drinking a whiskey. I actually found this whiskey when I moved to Texas, and coincidentally, it is actually called TX whiskey.
Hey, nice.
So we actually went to the distillery and took their whole tour and everything. It was awesome. Apparently, the TX doesn't stand for Texas. That's what they told us. Okay. I don't know what it stands for. They didn't really say, but they claim it doesn't stand for Texas. So
what else could it possibly stand for? That
exactly.
Did they have an excuse of like it doesn't stand for Texas. It stands for.
No, they didn't actually. That was weird. They didn't actually say. They kind of just
be a joke.
Right? They kind of just beat around the bush, and then we kind of went on to something else. So yeah.
Okay, well, for the purposes of this podcast, it stands for Texas.
There we go.
You're drinking some Texas whiskey.
Yeah.
Very nice. Anthony, what do you got?
I have made one of the classic mojitos.
It's back, baby. The
back
Bracco
in my
mojito.
Pops Blue Ribbon glass. But yeah, I've got the Bracco mojito with my own spin on it. The recipe that I famously stole. We've spoken about that on the podcast before.
The secret ingredient is I'll bleep that out. I'm going to bleep that out. Well, now you guys know.
It's actually
oh, right.
in place of regular Bacardi is the actual secret ingredient. My spin on it is
the Hookman Bracco mojito. Boom. Is it your own mint plant?
Yes, got it out on the deck. Smaller farm this year. Smaller deck, smaller
Scaled
farm,
down
but
acreage.
I've still got.
There's been a drought.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got about one 250th of an acre out there. If I had to guess.
Well, congrats on the crop. Last I heard, it hadn't come in yet. So
yeah, well, this is aside from the housewarming party which you were at, this is the first mojito that I've harvested since then. So
beautiful, yeah. Well, it was store-bought mint then, wasn't it? It wasn't your own.
It was. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Got it at Hy-Vee, transplanted it into a larger pot, and let me tell you, it's just flourishing.
It's good to hear.
Mint's a pretty a resilient plant.
Hard to screw that one up.
You have to really ignore it for it to die.
It grows wild in the creek behind my house, so it can't be too hard. Well, we were in, so yesterday the mother-in-law took the kids overnight, so Lindsay and I spent some time in Sioux Falls, and we went over to Fernson's and had ourselves a beer, and I brought home Fernson's Raz Lemonade Curio. It's very good. It's a sour, so I'm with you, Austin. I like the fruity beers in the summer.
It makes all great stuff.
Yeah, Fernson is top notch. So that's what I got. Raz Lemonade Curio. It's very nice. It'll do the trick. But however, because the mother-in-law had the kids yesterday, I basically didn't stop drinking beer from like noon on. And so I'm going to drink this one, and then I've got some grapefruit carbonated water that I'm going to switch to.
There you go.
So that's what we're drinking. There's our guess. I say, fellas, let's get into it and see where the night takes us here. Everyone, hold on to your butts. This should get interesting. Here we go. Episode 13 of season 3. This episode is entitled Tomorrow Blues. It aired January 14 of 2009. I'm looking at the IMDb, and it looks like Movie Dude 1 did not fail us for the season finale. So why don't we hear that? Is there an NBC one like they often do for the
all that
finales?
I'm seeing is Movie Dude 1's. I have not went ahead and read it yet. I wanted to make sure that was done on air, but I do see that he spelled Lyla correctly, which is so for right now, that's all I've seen. I've got high hopes for it, so I'm ready to be crushed.
I want to introduce here that this is my favorite part of the podcast. You guys ripping on Movie Dude 1 is fantastic. So I'm so excited for this.
All right.
Well, I'm nervous because I'm just glancing at it and I see 3 semicolons. And if there's one thing we know, no one actually knows how to use a semicolon. So
at least of all, Movie Dude 1. So here we go.
All right.
Skipping ahead 5 months in time, Dillon High School finds its graduating class with Lyla, whose father has come up with a plan for her to still possibly attend Vanderbilt. Matt, who plans to still, geez. All right, let's start this all over again. I've had a few beers myself today. All right.
Those semicolons will get you.
Yeah, every time.
Yep, all right. Skipping ahead 5 months in time, Dillon High School finds its graduating class with Lyla, whose father has come up with a plan for her to still possibly attend Vanderbilt. Matt, who plans to attend a school in Chicago away from Julie. Tim, whose brother tries to get a mechanic's garage going while planning to attend college himself. And Tyra, whose application is still up in the air in wanting to attend TU. Meanwhile, the issue over splitting Dillon High School seems small compared to the fact that outside influences such as money and a control for power continue to affect Coach Taylor, even when his contract comes up for negotiations. So that's 2 sentences.
I was going to say, he actually has a period in there, which is, good for him.
I will say this is a pretty proper use of semicolons. I think he did.
How can you be sure? You don't know.
I'm pretty sure this is correct. I feel positively about that use of a semicolon, but man, what a mess of a couple of portions of sentences in there.
Well, okay, so he's definitely going to get some positive points then for proper use of a semicolon. Like, I feel like that's automatic points. However, I don't feel like that necessarily helped bring any clarity to what he was doing.
No, I mean, this right here, Tim, whose brother tries to get a mechanic's garage going while planning to attend college himself, is an absolute mess.
So Billy Riggins is planning to attend college. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Basically the semicolons just allowed him to stick to his traditional two-sentence synopsis. When really it should have been about a 7-sentence synopsis.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm trying to figure out Tyra is trying to go to TU. I don't know what TUT is correct.
This is why we brought you on.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Like, I don't know what TU is.
TU.
So.
Yeah, so that's from the Texas guy. You're gonna lose a point for that.
Yeah,
do some research, Movie Dude 1.
We have figured out Movie Dude 1 does very little research. He does this thing in like a minute, and then he is just done.
That's what the 1 stands for. 1 minute and done.
There you go. 1 minute's enough.
See, I actually picture him like laying up at night, thinking of like what's going to be my theme of the synopsis that he always does.
How do I break this down into 2 sentences and thread everything together? Yeah.
But the actual, so that's more of an artistic effort that he puts into it. The actual research, no.
He hasn't tried to pick a theme in a few weeks, I feel like.
Yeah, which is
he's
probably a good move, but disappointing.
Straight away from
Yes. All right, let's put a numerical value on this. So thorough, a little confusing structure-wise. If you were, let's start with our guess, Austin. If you're going to put a number on this, what do you think?
No, it wasn't his worst. I mean, not even close. So I think I was thinking right away. My first thought was 4. I think that I could probably go with a 4. It's not good, but it wasn't horrendous. So. Not bad for a finale.
Yeah. Yeah. Kite, what are you feeling?
Yeah. He tried to bring everything together. There's a lot of stuff going on. So he did bring in a whole lot of characters, which was good. I like the fact that he actually used a period this time. But, the fact that he didn't do the research on the abbreviations for a school, I got to take him down a notch. So I'd probably say a solid 4.
Okay. All right.
I got a question. What is the highest movie dude has ever gotten?
Gal.
He got up into like the 7-8 rarefied air once, pretty recently. We were both pretty impressed with him.
Yeah. That could even be this one that's going to come out here.
Maybe. I was going to say I wasn't sure if it's aired yet. But.
No, he had a really good one. So I think we got him into an 8.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, but it's very, very, very rare.
Yeah. I feel like I would have given him a 4 like just without knowing the TUUT thing, but I feel like we need to honor your expertise on this, Miles, and so I would actually deduct him a point from that, and I'd come down to a 3 on this one. So
that's fair.
What do you think, Anthony?
I was thinking a 4 or 5, and so I'll with the deduction of the TUUT mistake, I'm also going to jump on the 4 train.
Okay.
Light 4.
All right.
To be fair.
I like it. So Movie Dude 1, not your worst, not your best. Impressed, honestly, by the usage of semicolons, not impressed by your knowledge of Texas in general. So there's Movie Dude 1. Hasn't failed us yet. Well, I guess he has dropped
He's
out
definitely
once or twice.
Failed us.
I was just going to say, whoa.
As far as podcast content goes, hasn't failed us yet.
Yeah.
So, all right. There's the synopsis from Movie Dude 1. Let's do our own, much lengthier synopsis. So this episode starts out. We get as Movie Dude 1 indicated. We get the 5 months later.
Springtime in Dillon.
Yep, jump forward in time. We see baseball players in Dillon Panther uniforms. That looked weird to me. I don't know. Like, it was like, oh,
yeah, very much.
I guess they would have other sports.
Was Matt Saracen playing baseball?
I thought that's who it was right away, catching the pop fly.
Oh, I did.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, but then as he ran off, I was like, that's not him. So.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. I didn't
think we recognized any of the baseball players, but I was.
Otherwise, it seemed super random, and I was like, maybe that was Saracen. I don't know. But
I wonder if it was just to show that it's springtime and that's the sport going on. But maybe we got a few multi-sport athletes in the room, so we, it's not impossible.
Saracen over there playing shortstop with his laser rocket arm.
That's far gone from now. It's a noodle.
We've established that. What do we think? How big do we think Dillon is?
What we've come up with is roughly 50,000, I think.
Yeah. So I feel like a town that size is small enough that I feel like most of probably the high school football players would also play baseball in the spring. I don't feel like it's big enough that you got to just like pick your sport and that's it. So
Miles, you're the expert on Texas high school football here. Are most of them, confined to just football? Do you know? Or like, are they even allowed to focus on any other sports?
So they are allowed to, if they're good. A lot of times you don't see a whole lot of crossover between like football and basketball just because the seasons actually clash into each other.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a couple athletes that do play on both. But there's a good handful of kids that actually play football and baseball and then football and track. But then again, the high school that I'm, kind of affiliated with, they're 6A schools. That's the biggest you can get in Texas. So I'm sure at some of these smaller schools, you probably have to have athletes that cross over.
Sure.
Yeah. Right.
So
you got to imagine that Smash Williams was pretty good on the track.
Yeah.
Like running track.
Yeah. You got to be, I imagine a Bo Jackson level in Smash Williams. I think that's maybe the side that we got to see is how was he on the track, but something that'll never be answered.
We know that Saracen is a pretty broadly talented guy. He, draws pictures, listens to Bob Dylan, plays football, and plays baseball as well, probably. So
sleeps with the coach's daughter.
Right. Which is probably the ballsiest move of, his entire career. Yeah. So good for him.
No doubt. Yeah. Man of many talents. So could be Matt, could not be. We've just spent 5 minutes on the first 1.5 seconds of the show.
You're welcome for getting sidetracked on that. Yeah, you're welcome.
We're going to keep it moving. So yeah, lots of other pictures of springtime. We see the Riggins wedding, right? Riggins Colette wedding.
Yeah, Billy and Tim are getting their tuxes, picking up their tuxes.
Yes, that's what it was. We see Buddy and Coach out golfing. Do you really think Coach hangs out with Buddy? Would hang out with Buddy this much?
Absolutely not.
He's the only person I ever see Coach hanging out with, though, and it confuses me so much.
I mean, he's definitely not hanging out with like Joe McCoy. So
no,
it must just it must have been a desperation move where he's like, I got to get on the course. I'm calling Buddy.
He's all I got.
Yeah, Buddy is gonna say yes if you ask him to go golfing. What else is Buddy gonna do? We see Lyla and Tim, Matt and Julie. We see Landry and Tyra, and is Landry swimming off the dock in a t-shirt like a fat boy?
Yes.
Is that
super weird?
100%. Yeah.
I couldn't tell if he like fell in or something, or if he was just swimming in a t-shirt like a weirdo.
And of all things, it's a white t-shirt, so you're really not covering anything up once it gets wet.
It makes the situation worse, actually.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. So not sure what he's trying. I mean, yeah. Okay. Landry's just a weirdo. We know that. So we see the Taylors buying a new vehicle from Buddy, but then we get a little picture of. Sorry, I've just got a whole list. There's a lot going on.
Same. I did the same thing. Yep.
I was just trying to jot down what was going on. There's like a senior brunch waffle breakfast that we see, and Tammy's kind of emceeing the brunch, and she's given us the update on what all of our favorite senior Dillon Panthers will be up to after they graduate.
Yeah, she's filling us in with the old higher ed plans. I do have to note that also during this montage, we get 2 Tim Riggins beer tally right off the bat.
Wow, I didn't catch that at all.
Yep. And we also got a music cue over this montage. Jacob Dylan song.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Jacob Dylan solo song
Nice.
called "Something Good This Way Comes." I had not heard it before, but
I think I've said this before on the podcast, but Jacob Dylan of the Wallflowers actually bought. This is some Platt trivia right here. I bought the Wallflowers album off of Zeke Heisinga's garage sale for $0.25. So,
Oh man.
That's a name drop right there.
Boom.
Yeah, there you go.
Boom.
Zeke, come on the
The
show.
people in Laos have no idea who that is.
Nope. Wouldn't pick him to be a Wallflowers fan, and apparently he wasn't because he was selling it for $0.25. So no, good catch on the music cue. I assume was he drinking when they were picking up the wedding suits, or I know there was a little shot of him and Lyla too.
There was a little shot of him and Lyla like hanging out in the Riggins backyard, which, as we have determined, also has a pool. So I don't know if they didn't show the pool, but maybe the pool was filled up. Yeah, for springtime. But yeah, he had 2 beers cracked. So
nice. Well, put 2 on the tally for this episode already. Yeah, we find out that. Okay, so we know that Tim and Lyla, as of right now, are going to San Antonio State. Do they say where Matt is going?
Yeah, Art Institute of Chicago.
Yep. So Miles, double expert here, an expert in Texas and then also in Chicago. So the Art Institute in Chicago is a big deal, right? Like,
it's a very big deal, and actually very cool. If you guys ever get a chance to go up to Chicago, I would definitely suggest going and checking it out. It's really neat, actually.
Yeah.
I personally have toured the Art Institute of Chicago and was very impressed.
No.
The only time Anthony and I go to Chicago is for UFC fights.
I was present.
The top row.
I was present for that.
Yes.
Second to top row.
That's right. Did you go to the fights with us, Miles?
Yeah.
I think you guys stayed in my apartment.
I definitely remember staying at your apartment, but I didn't remember if you went. So
you guys actually invited me, so thank you.
Yeah. So you remember in vivid detail, as we do, the Kick him, Rashad.
Right.
Elbows, Rashad.
Elbows.
Punch him in the face, Rashad. Not to get too sidetracked, I was thinking of this the other day, Miles. You know, you and I, not close friends, but friends. I love you. But as far as people that I've hung out with in different states, you and I have hung out in a number of different states.
Yeah.
Montana, South Dakota, Wyoming, technically.
Yeah. Illinois.
Missouri on the 3 Seasons trip.
Yeah.
Like we've been all over together.
Yeah, we've been around. We've been around.
Man, globetrotters over here. Nice. All right. So in all of this, I feel like the only real new thing that we really learn is that Tyra is on the wait list for UT, not TU. We also find out in here somewhere that JD has been named quarterback of the year.
Yeah, in the guy's list, the one guy, whatever his name is.
Yes, that puts out. Yeah.
That Smash, the list that Smash was trying to get on in season 1.
Right. So that scene kind of serves to update us on where everything's at. Next we see Tammy, who is meeting with. Oh yeah, go ahead. We
get a full pads practice in the spring. Apparently,
I had a question for Miles on that.
Yes,
do they do that?
Yeah, they got spring ball. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I have to ask Miles about this. What are they doing?
Dude,
you're off till August. I was like, what time is it? What time of year is it?
Yeah. So they have spring ball down here. You know, and they can only go so long in the spring, and legally. So, but yeah, that happens.
Yeah, I wrote down a question mark next to that, and that is where we learned that JD was named QB of the year. But I was like, why are they in full pads at a spring practice? Why are they having a spring practice at all? But that answers those questions for me. Thank you.
I have a question for you guys too, because I had to skip a couple episodes here. I've been just watching along, and I had just watched this for the podcast. What happened in the championship? I don't remember. Did they lose?
They lost. Yep. They lost it in a last second move. Yep.
And was Saracen, was he playing receiver, and JD was the quarterback, obviously slinging it?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Right. I couldn't remember it all, so I was like, I'm gonna have to ask here.
You're right.
I think didn't they throw in
part of it? Yeah.
They threw in Saracen at QB because JD was shit in the bed.
Yeah, he was freaking out. And
that's right. I do remember that.
All Madison's fault is what I'm saying. I'm with Joe McCoy on this one.
I skipped 2 episodes, so I was like, I need a little recap from you guys. So okay.
Did you see Joe McCoy beat the crap out of JD? Have you seen that yet?
Well, I've seen it previously when I watched it before, but I haven't seen it in a while, probably a couple of years. So
yeah, no, they fell short this time, but it was close.
Okay,
but it was a good game. It was a memorable effort. So
all right, I'm up to speed then.
Boom. All right. So Tammy's meeting with like a school board. We've seen this guy before. I think he's like a board member.
Superintendent, I think they said later on.
Oh, is that who it is?
think Tammy said, but yeah,
it's time to renegotiate Coach's contract. And this guy, whoever he is asking Tammy if she would like to recuse herself from the salary negotiations of her husband. And she doesn't want to, which doesn't seem like it should be legal. I feel like you should be forced to recuse yourself from deciding what your spouse's salary should
seem like a little conflict of interest there. Yeah.
But as we know, Tammy Taylor is a saint and an objective human being. So I'm Team Tammy on this one. I think she
all the time.
She knows when to do what's right. So
if there's anyone that could do it, objectively and with perfect moral consistency, it would be Tammy. So
absolutely.
So she's going to stay in on it, but we get the vibe from the conversation that might be a little dicey with Coach's new contract. I don't know. I didn't remember what was going to happen, but I put in my notes, I feel like some red flags are going up right now with the contract situation.
Cause she asked something like, is he in like danger of not getting rehired or something? And he's kind of vague about it.
Yep. Next we see Buddy dragging Coach along on a little trip that's definitely not a recruitment trip. It's definitely not that, according to Buddy. But yeah, they're gonna go talk to some kid that they're hoping goes to Dillon.
Yeah, they show up at this kid's. I didn't catch the kid's name, but
they said it once, but I can't remember.
Yeah, they show up at his house. The parents say, "Hey, you don't have to stop by. We already know. We've decided we're gonna send him to Dillon instead of East Dillon. But we've got a question for you. Who's exactly the head coach? Because we had Joe McCoy and Wade Aikman. They've been doing some non-recruiting of their own. Sounds like. Yeah,
the coach and Buddy are not overly happy to hear that Wade and Joe have been doing their own thing and talking like they represent the team. So that's not going to go over well. Over at the Saracen house, packing up grandma. We're finally shipping her off. We're getting rid of Granny. About time.
Yes.
Reliving the Lights, officially not a fan of Grandma Saracen.
She's good entertainment value quite often, though.
She's a very dramatic woman, and yeah. So they're packing up and kind of going through some stuff. I think is this where they pull out a picture of little Matt?
Seventh grade photo of Matt, which she has to bring along to the retirement home.
Definitely, he's a little cutie. He was a little cutie back in seventh grade for sure. A lot cuter than I was in my seventh grade picture. That's for sure. If you want the bad one, that's fifth. That's like the double chins and the bulging eyeballs. I was a husky boy.
It was a rough couple of years there for us, Josh.
Yeah, I'm sure you had some good ones too.
Oh yeah. Fifth and sixth grade got a little rough.
There are many pictures of you and I throughout the years in the family photo albums back at my mom's house where we're a couple of husky boys running around the farm.
I was gonna say, grandma gave us a lot of cookies after school and we were healthy.
And Miles, I can think of baby pictures of you in our family albums. You were a husky baby, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I had some cheeks on me.
Yeah,
back when Miles actually had hair, his hair was translucent.
Yeah,
it was amazing. He had like a translucent afro.
Yeah, it was very white and very curly.
Yeah,
very
real
curly.
Tight curls.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's long gone now. So.
If you tried to grow it back, what would happen up there?
I look like Bozo the Clown.
Just go out the sides.
It'd be right here and not here at all. So, but I mean, that curly hair, man, like going back to like high school stuff too, when old Marquise Bull made his way up to Platte, South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
That was our sophomore year when I actually grew my hair out that entire year. And me and Marcus had a fro off. And I want to say, as a white boy, I feel like I put up a pretty good fight,
I gotta agree.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good story about Miles' fro. When I was in college, he came up to visit us at SDSU one time. And we went out. We went out for the night. And Miles had his hair was pretty long, pretty springy. And we went up to Kobe's room and he fell asleep on the couch. And Kobe's roommate was there. And I was like, "You got to see this. His hair is like water resistant." She's like, "No way." I'm like, it's such tight curls. So I grabbed a glass of water. I just started pouring it on his head. It would just beat off his hair. It was just the tightest little fro ever. So there's water all over his pillow. And I'm just pouring water. He wakes up. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm showing everybody your hair is water resistant." What the hell is happening? It was awesome.
And those are my friends. Those are my friends.
Yeah.
If you've got it, flaunt it, and you had water resistant hair. Don't be ashamed of it.
Well, I remember for the sophomore freaking speech video, didn't you do cornrows?
I did. Well, yeah. So, small town South Dakota, you played every sport that you could.
Mm-hmm.
So that year that I grew it out, I also ran track. So that thing wasn't very aerodynamic by any means. So I think Ayla Bryant.
Yeah, she would be able to cornrow him.
Yeah. So she cornrowed my hair on the bus to track meets. So we cornrowed it. I don't know why we cornrowed it for that video, but we did. But yeah. Cornrows suck. Those hurt.
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
I did it once in high school as well, and did not enjoy it.
Yeah. Terrible.
Miles, for our listeners to picture what you looked like in high school, so what was the episode when the train derailed and then the other football team came and they shared the locker room?
I know where you're going.
There was that they were the twin brothers on the team, and one of them had a white guy fro.
Gritzy Rotzy.
Yeah.
That's a little bit what Miles looks like.
Perfect.
Matt Saracen with an afro. Because I remember I thought it was like a bizarro Matt Saracen bit.
Yeah. I feel that'd be a pretty accurate description right there.
There you go. All right, Miles Gitzerazzi.
The third Gitzerazzi, the triplet. Yeah. The third triplet.
Perfect. All right, so next
we got get a scene of Lyla and Buddy and Tammy meeting in Tammy's office. Tammy's concerned about Lila's choice to attend San Antonio State because she thinks she can do better. Nothing wrong with state schools, Tammy. Stay in your lane. But Tammy says, Lyla can still get into Vanderbilt, and Buddy is willing to call up Uncle Gary for a little financial help.
Oh, Gary.
Surprise, surprise. Uncle Gary doesn't like Buddy.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, Buddy's own family has left him. It's not surprising that his extended family has also left him. Sorry, but that's sad. But
it's just amazing he can find somebody to golf with. Thanks, Coach.
Yep. So they're gonna talk to Uncle Gary about maybe helping Lyla get up the money to be able to go to Vanderbilt, since, as we all remember, Buddy lost all of Lila's college money in a bad investment. Lyla appears to be considering it here, right? She's got some openness, I feel like, at this point. So
yeah, I think that she sees. The very little that we learn about Buddy's relationship with Uncle Gary, I think Lyla sees that the fact that Buddy is willing to reach out to Uncle Gary, I think, shows her how serious he is about getting her into Vanderbilt.
Yep. Landry picks Tyra up from Applebee's, and she gets in the car and immediately has a little freak out. She's ticked off, freaking out because she's hearing about how everybody else is getting into these great schools, but she has no idea what's going to happen to her own college career. She doesn't know. Yeah, Landry basically tells her, like, hey, maybe you just need to get a hold of someone there and talk to him directly. Like, maybe you need to take matters into your own hands a little bit. And actually do something about it instead of just freaking out about it. So
I think Landry pulls a page from
that's a Julie move.
So I was gonna say Jason Street going to New York and just
true.
Showing up at the sports agent's office.
That's true. So that's more of a that's a Tim Riggins advice then. Landry is playing the Tim Riggins here in this, but usually it's Julie that's giving out the questionable advice. So yeah, maybe you just need to go there and talk to somebody about it. Coach goes over to the McCoys to confront the stud of suds about their little non-recruiting trip.
Yeah, Joe is as weird as ever. Like just playing it off like everything's normal, but then like tries to like blackmail isn't the right word, but like basically tries to corner Coach into being like, if you want to coach next year, here's like my demands.
Yeah.
JD has to start every game and Wade has to call the plays. All the while, like I said, just playing it really, just being a real weirdo.
They just make him look super sleazy here. They did a great job.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, he's taken over the Buddy Garrity sleazeball move, but no, somehow Buddy has managed to maintain his most sleazy person title.
Buddy's still starting fights in strip clubs. Yeah. He is going to be, he's going to have that title for a while.
He's got that lockdown. Honestly.
Yeah.
So, Coach basically tells him to shove it up his ass. Not so many words. That's what he says. So question, this would be mainly for Miles probably, but in Texas football and just being involved with high school sports in general is probably not Texas centric, but what's some of the like most insane sports parents things that you've seen in your involvement with high school sports, specifically Texas football?
Oh man. I don't know if I can actually like point out like one instance that like sticks to mind, but I mean, it's just crazy like how like involved parents get in like their children's game of football in Texas. It's just insane like how much these parents like actually push their kids and sign them up for, you know, not only the high school practices along with it that's associated with the school, but then after that they go to like these private, you know, quarterback coaching or offensive line coaching or running back coaching in these private sessions afterwards and everything like that. So it's just kind of crazy like how much they invest in their 14 to 18-year-old kids, you know, and everything like that. And then of course, you know, parents do get a little upset when their kids don't play and they think that their kids should play because their kids are the best thing that ever walked this earth.
Obviously, yeah.
So Mize, like, is there like on your team, is there like a Joe McCoy? I mean, are there like a lot of parents that come to like practices and stuff?
Yeah. So they have, they have a grandstand.
Because Kirby never showed up to any high school practice for us. So I never saw Kirby, Kevin, Kenny. None of those guys were at practice. So I was just wondering if that happened in Texas.
Yeah. They got a grandstand that people sit in and watch practices. That's right behind their field house. You know, so, you know, they got people there watching practices. They got their scrimmage games that they do and everything like that people show up to. And yeah, I mean, it's everything that you see in the movies. And
guys, I don't know, like when I was down for Mize's wedding, you should see the stadiums for these high school football games. I mean, like Dylan's on the show looks nice. That Geyer one is. So
that's not even the best one. Like when we get into like, whenever you guys want to do like Texas football talk, I'll get into my first experience with 6A football in Texas.
Yeah.
And it's insane. It's ridiculous.
Let's do that soon. Before we do that, Austin, you've got a son of your own. How old is your boy?
Hayes is 7 now. He's going to be 8 here coming up soon. Yep.
I knew his name. I just didn't know if you wanted it on the podcast. I remember your children's names.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Making sure you knew. I didn't want to.
No, yeah, that's fine.
Put it out there. You said 7?
Yep.
Nice. So is he getting into football, like flag football, whatever?
Yeah, he will actually. This will be we signed him up. He will just be in flag football for the first time this year. And they have like kids football. You know, like we just don't want anything with helmets yet, with concussions. If he can't hold his head up with the helmet on, we don't want him in yet. So yeah, this will be his first year, and he's pretty excited. He loves football. So,
so you guys are both physical therapists, right?
Different. And I'm a PTA. I'm a PT assistant. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, knowing what you know about it, like how do you have any reservations with football and kind of the head trauma stuff and the injuries and stuff? We all love football. We all loved high school football. It was awesome. It's like the best memories of my life for sure. But I've got, a good 16 years before I have to think about it probably but anyway, yeah, as a PTA, what are your thoughts about your kids playing football?
I mean, we're going to have him play flag for a couple of years. I mean, Hayes is a pretty scrawny kid anyways. And honestly, I don't think he'd be able to hold his head up with the helmet on. So, I mean, no, I have some reservations until he gets quite a bit older. I mean, when did we start playing?
Not till middle school.
Yeah, not till junior. Yeah, 7th
and 8th grade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't, if he wants to play football, it won't be that long, but yeah, a couple more years for sure.
Yeah. I guess we had flag football down at South Park with Jill Chemnitz, probably.
That's right.
Yep, absolutely.
Which also reminds me of our high school backyard football league.
BFL. Yes. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
What a league.
We could do a whole podcast on that. It has nothing to do with Friday Night Live. Oh, man.
No, so we had, what was it? Did we have flags for it? Or because I didn't actually play. I just like ran the website and stuff.
Yeah, we had flags for that.
So flags and like consistent teams, right? Like they were the same teams.
I was on Peaches Pink Flamingos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used the old ice skating rink because it was almost like arena football, but outside.
Yes. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, everybody had. So yeah, we had a website. Everybody had player profiles and team pictures.
For the best.
I think we attempted to keep stats and put them on there, but I don't think that was probably a little ambitious.
If we could dig that back up, oh man, that'd be a time.
I think I've tried to dig that up on the internet, but I think it's gone. I think it's lost to time, but good times. Okay. So we will continue to talk Texas football here, but I figured you were just getting into it, Austin, with your kids. So I wanted to hear your perspective on that. Try not to go full stud of suds on the whole situation. Once
I will try to control myself.
Yeah.
I will blackmail a coach though.
Not above
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
No.
I was going to say try to be less of a Joe McCoy and more of a, but then I kind of stopped myself mentally because I was like, I don't think we have any good father figures on the show aside from Coach Taylor, but he's not the father figure of a son of a football
I just
player.
strive to be Coach Taylor. I'll strive to be Coach Taylor. Yeah.
Boy, that's true. I can't think of a football player that has a good dad on
not
Friday
good.
Night Lights. Henry Saracen? No.
Mama
Landry's
Smash,
dad?
baby. I want to be Mama Smash.
There you go. Yeah.
Mama Smash. Yeah. Yep. Be a Mama Smash. That's good. But no, like Landry's dad, he helped cover up a murder. So I wouldn't put him in a top tier for fatherhood, I guess. I don't know. Maybe, I guess it depends on your perspective there. But
we got, a couple of weeks ago, we had Jamarcus's dad, the character who showed up for one episode, who didn't want his son to play football, but then came around. That's about the best father figure that we've seen.
No, he's not a good dad because somehow his kid was playing football assumedly at practice for multiple hours a day and then gone in like every Friday night. And he didn't notice.
That's true. That's correct.
You're right. We got like 5 kids. I can't keep track of them.
Got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. So no good dads except for Coach Taylor. So all right. Well, you've got big shoes to fill then, Austin. That's a pretty high bar. But all right, Billy and Tim. They're getting Riggins Riggs ready for the grand opening. Looks like they're dicking around more than actually getting things done, but that's typical.
They've kind of turned it around though from what we saw
it looks good.
in the last
It does.
episode. Like they've done some work, just not necessarily in this
when we see them.
scene. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Lyla comes over to ask Tim if he wants to hang out, but he can't do that because Tim and Billy have a little mission that they're going on. They're gonna go out of town. And there's a hydraulic lift that is up for auction that they're gonna try and win. So, kind of a big deal.
Tim kind of asks about Lila's meeting with Tammy, and Lyla lies.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she kind of says, "Oh no, like it was a normal meeting." She doesn't mention anything about Vanderbilt, nothing about Uncle Gary. Nothing about this potential plan that they've come up with. So
the Garrity's don't necessarily like to talk about Uncle Gary. Gary Garrity? Can we assume his name is Gary Garrity?
No, this has got to be Pammy's brother. It's got to be Pam's brother.
Oh, I suppose maybe that's why Buddy isn't
There's
crazy
no way
about
there's
him,
a Gary Garrity. There's no way.
I'm going to say that there is. We're going with it. It's Gary Garrity.
Buddy and Gary Garrity sounds about right.
Yep.
That's true.
You think Buddy's his real name? That sounds like a nickname that just gets made into a real name.
Right. I was literally thinking the same thing there.
But they always like, even when they talk about like high school stuff, they still call him Buddy Garrett, like in the flashbacks. So it seems, although there's like a who was that one guy, Bumper Pickner? They always called him Bumper. So I guess I'm wrong.
I feel like those things can get decided early on. Like Austin was Oz.
I was just gonna say, I go back to Platt. I only get called Oz. Yeah.
Okay. So what do we think Buddy's real name would be if he theoretically has a brother named Gary?
Yeah.
Barry.
Oh,
Barry
Garrity.
Buddy Garrity.
I was trying to think of the sleaziest name I can think of. Oh man, I got nothing.
Barry. Buddy's not not one of those names that's consistently a nickname for something else, is it?
Here's something for you. That's exactly what I just looked up.
Okay.
Bud is short for buddy or brother. It can also be used as a nickname for Robert, William, or Donald. So, and this
Donnie?
is
I say
Donnie. Ooh, Donnie's pretty
Donnie,
sleazy.
yeah.
Donnie Garrity.
Yeah.
And this is to tie
Donnie
the bow
Buddy
on
Garrity.
it. To tie the bow on it, this is from an article called "Nicknames You'll Only Hear in the South" from SouthernLiving.com.
There you go.
So,
Perfect.
It's Donnie. All right. Wow.
Well, we're digging deep here. I like it.
I feel like this is one of those instances where we just dug deeper into the show than like even the actual
Yeah.
writers of the show. But I feel like it's pretty inarguable. Like his name is definitely Donald.
Yep.
Okay.
Donald Garrity.
Donald Garrity.
I'll put some submissions into IMDb and we'll get it listed as such. Brad
IMDb.
Leland as Donald Buddy Garrity.
IMDb trivia. Did you know Buddy Garrity's real name is Donald?
You can sneak that into Wikipedia pretty easy.
Yeah.
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 I can hang out there. I'm gonna make a quick note about that. Breaking new ground. Good job, guys. I'm
Yeah.
proud of us for that. Okay, so Tyra and Landry show up at UT to talk to the waitlist guy, and they are met with the cruel reality that even though Tyra is on the waitlist, 1,000 people per year get put on the waitlist at UT. What's the point of a waitlist if there's 1,000 people on there?
I was thinking the same thing. What are the odds? What are the odds of getting off that thing?
Sheesh.
Well, as it turns out,
Fairly pretty decent.
Yeah. On this show, it's pretty high.
But yeah, as we find out that there's 1,000 people on the wait list, she gets pretty disheartened and steps out back into reality.
It was a little bit of another Jason Street moment of when he went to the sports agent, like, listen, guy.
Not only that, actually, when the scene started, Angie made a point to point out that Landry, like Tim Riggins, during all that entire episode, just stood back. Like, they got to the UT campus and like hitting a force field. Landry just stopped at one point, and Tyra went
She kept
going. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a common theme, I guess.
I guess. Yeah.
So that didn't go very well. We get a scene of Coach and Tammy just hanging out at the football stadium for some reason. But they're talking. Tammy wants Coach to come to the salary negotiation meeting and kind of stand up for his job a little bit. Kind of says that she's a little bit worried about the situation and thinks it would be a good idea for Coach to come. Coach says that there's no way he can out-talk or outspend Joe McCoy. So why even try? But Tammy kind of pushes like, no, you kind of need to have a strategy here.
Yeah.
So
We get a fantastic scene.
great scene. I feel like this is an all-time Riggins Brothers scene.
Absolutely.
Here.
Absolutely. We've got Billy and Tim. They're at the auction. Billy, I don't know if you noticed this, is wearing a fantastic landing strip t-shirt.
Great
No.
shirt. I made a note of that myself, Steve. Yeah.
Oh, I did not see that.
It's like, I want that t-shirt so bad. He's
He's got to support his woman, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I made like 5 notes for this whole thing, and one of them was Billy Riggins' t-shirt is amazing.
It was great. It was great. But
Well, when we get down to Austin for our Friday Night Light tour, we'll have to check out, because I don't know if you guys know this, but the Landing Strip is a real strip club.
Is it really?
Down there? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we'll have to see if we can get some merch.
yes.
If you buy one, I'll take 2.
Perfect. That can be your appreciation gift for coming on the podcast.
Yes.
Is we'll get you a Landing Strip shirt.
Sounds awesome.
Boom.
Yeah, they win their hydraulic lift.
Yep.
They've got a little money left over.
Yeah, they're buzzing off the wind too. Like they're
Oh yeah.
and I don't
Also,
know if
wasn't
you've
there like an owl, like
Yes.
made out of like a deer's butt or something?
Yeah, right.
Like what
Yeah.
was that?
I wrote down the quote. Here's the quote. The auctioneer says, "Item 28. It's an owl's head that is actually made from a deer's rear end. Who will give me $25 for the owl's head?" Billy Regan says, "That's a big owl just sitting there staring at you. It's cool, but no." He's really considering bidding on the deer.
And
butt
good
owl.
thing he saved his money because
Yes.
I'll be
Yeah.
damned.
That was good self-control, because not only do they come home from the auction with a hydraulic lift, they also buy the next item up for auction, which is a giant longhorn steer. And Tim insists that it's meant to be, and I guess he's
Make a
envisioning it
great
as a
mascot.
mascot. Yeah.
If people pull up and they see that outside of our, there's no way people are gonna go anywhere else.
I kind of get it, and also that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But I also, I okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like in Sioux Falls, the big muffler guy or whatever.
Mr.
Yeah.
Bendo.
Yeah.
Mr. Bendo, yeah.
So yeah, Riggins are trying to pull a Mr. Bendo on this one. But yeah, they buy a giant longhorn steer in true Riggins Brothers fashion.
Coach and Tammy are surprising Julie with a new car, brand new car. Which I
Yeah,
was kind of like surprised by.
yeah. The plastic still on the floors and everything
Yeah.
is what Tammy said. So going all out for Julie. Tammy's going to go along with her on the first drive. But before they can even put the car in gear, Julie kind of has a little breakdown about Matt leaving and her getting left behind. There's just a lot of change going on. Once again, Tammy Taylor just comes in with perfect parenting and just nails this conversation as Tammy does. I don't think there's any higher parent goals than Tammy Taylor. It's just as good as it gets.
Yes.
So she kind of,
Well, Kevin and Brenda Kuiper, but then Tammy.
Yeah, yeah. Because you can see how well they did right here.
So the BK.
Yeah,
Shout out to BK.
right. So do you think like some hospitals use this for like future parents? Like they just take clips from Friday Night Lights and just be like, do what Tammy does,
If they
Yes.
don't, they should.
right? Maybe we should make a promo video for them. Put it together.
That's not a bad idea.
I was just talking to a friend yesterday who were having their first kid, and they had like new parent classes today at the hospital. I should have told her, like, listen, forget that. Just come over. We'll pop in some Friday Night Lights.
Those are super boring. Friday Night Lights is way more
Yeah.
entertaining.
Right.
Yeah. You're going to learn a lot more.
We'll show you what to do and what not
Yes.
to do.
We've got the Buddy Garrity approach,
Right.
and we've got the Tammy Taylor approach.
Speaking of that, where is the alien baby lately?
Rarely makes an appearance.
Yeah, she was in this episode. We did, like, Angie made a comment about her, but very not.
It just it
So
feels
maybe Tammy Taylor is not that good of a parent because alien baby might just get put in the closet all day.
yeah. It feels like the writers like really regretted bringing Gracie into the show, and so like
Yeah, they pretty much ignore her
yeah,
immediately.
they like feel obligated
Here she
because
is.
Yeah.
you will get like at least one scene every episode of Gracie just like marginally in the shot, right?
Yeah.
Like coaches
Just so we
feeding
all
her
know
at
that she's
breakfast.
alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. But they never actually like
We don't
reference
care,
her
but
or
yeah.
talk about her. Or she plays zero like role in the plot of the show anymore.
Yeah.
So no, they were probably just ashamed by the half human, half alien creation that they had spawned. And so they keep her around. But yeah. So next we have Matt bringing old Granny Saracen into her new old folks home. At this point, I am just cheering on what's happening here.
We're loving it.
It's finally happening.
No more grandma.
They're both struggling with it a little bit, but overall, it's going well. Grandma hasn't lost her yet on this episode. Thank God.
One of my notes as I wrote is grandma is taking this very well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Much
well.
better than I thought was going to happen. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. She's still the worst, though.
But we do. They kind of say their goodbyes. Matt gets a little emotional outside of her door while saying goodbye. We get a little music cue again. Shazam! This one's called "The One" by Aiden Falls.
Yep, never heard any of that.
Fine.
But, yep, sounded nice. We see Landry and Tyra. They're driving back from UT, and Tyra is freaking out about kind of the disaster of a life that she feels like she's resigning herself to because she's not going to get into college and all this stuff. And Landry just kind of loses it with her. And I felt like overall this conversation turned out okay, but it still felt like Landry being a dick a little bit.
Yeah, Landry definitely did not handle it very well.
No. Basically says like, I can't listen to you feel sorry for yourself anymore. Like, just stop it. Stop throwing a pity party for yourself. Stop caring what other people think. He screams at her that he believes in her and wants good for her, but she's got to start believing in herself. And yeah, I thought it was a little harsh, but it seems like Tyra takes it pretty well and is.
Yeah, they embrace at the end of it. So
yes, they do.
Must have said something right, I guess. But
we see Tim and Billy heading home from the auction, and the pickup has broke down due to hauling the lift and the steer. And I feel like it's from this point on in the episode, I feel like Tim Riggins is like on a different level in this episode as far as like, I think it's maybe because he's with Billy the whole time, so he's acting like a little kid a little bit. But he's just like, he reminds me of Bo from season 1. Like he's just talking Billy's ear off.
Hey, Billy Riggins.
Yeah. Hey, Billy Riggins. But I got a quote from Tim at this point. He says, he's talking about college, and he says, I hate San Antonio State. Bars are junk. They don't even have a place where I can go and relax and just be me. Or no, sorry, I got it wrong. Cause he mentioned Smitty's.
Yeah,
specifically.
Smitty's, yeah.
They don't have a place like Smitty's where I can go and relax and just be me, which I thought was a hilarious thing because isn't Smitty's where he's not just being him, he's being Toby.
He's the Afghan war vet.
Yeah. 2-time Iraq war vet. Nobody has Toby.
So yeah, he's and he also says, I got 4 classes in a row. Where's the me time? He's very concerned about not getting enough me time in college.
I don't know. I guess he does skip class a lot, but like if there was one thing, I guess, and of course I took a pretty big chunk of time off between high school and college, but like the thing I loved about college was there was a lot of me time.
Yeah, right.
You think you're so busy in college and then you graduate and like get a real job and start having kids and stuff like that. And you realize like, I have never had more free time in my life than those 4 years that I was in college. Yeah. So Billy is kind of pissed at Tim for talking so much about it, wants him just to shut up. Tim kind of like, so Billy's struggling to get the pickup fixed, and Tim kind of like, well, why are you messing around with the alternator? Why don't you check such and such? And gets the pickup going right away.
He's like the old engine whisperer. You just got to listen to it, he says. And then bang, it's got it.
Yep. They start the pickup up, and Billy is pissed. And that kind of pisses him off because he just bought a repair shop and he can't fix his own car. But Tim says, no, it's going to be awesome. You're basically living the American dream. And Billy tells him, yeah, this all better work out because Mindy's pregnant. So he drops that bomb on Tim. We're going to have a Uncle Tim. And Tim is pumped about it.
Yeah. Very psyched. Yeah. They do some fist pumping in the air on the side of the road.
Yeah, on the side of the road. Yep. So exciting news for the Riggins family. We get a short little scene of Lyla going to the dealership to tell Buddy that she wants to talk to old Uncle Gary. That's all I had for that scene. Anything else to add?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. She's willing to enter negotiations with Uncle Gary, I guess.
Yeah. Tyra gets home and there's a letter from UT there.
Yeah, Landry's driving off and she stops him. They open the letter together and she got in. Must have made some sort of impression when she visited the UT offices, but
okay.
or no, never mind. That doesn't make any sense. There's no way that letter could have gotten there on time. That was a dumb thing to say.
No, this does not make sense. And I wanted to talk about this because, okay, she assumedly when she went to UT, which is where they're coming back from, right? And UT's in Austin, correct? So it's like, what have we decided? Like a couple hour drive, probably.
Yeah, short. Well, Dillon, I think is supposed to be in the Austin area.
Okay. So not a long drive.
No.
It's so a same day trip. They go to UT. They talk to assumedly the guy who's like in charge of admission and the wait list and stuff. She tells him her name and he's like, hey, 1,000 people. If he already knows that people are getting in on the wait list, like, don't you think he would have like even looked up her name and be like, oh, yeah. actually you're in. We sent a letter to your house a couple days ago. It should be waiting for you when you get home. Like, it feels
I think maybe he didn't look it up because maybe he would have had bad news for her, but he could have at least said like, oh, we just released the people from the wait list in the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just seemed weird to me that they would like go to the office of the guy who let her probably like was in charge of letting her in off the wait list, but he didn't bother to even look it up. So, but she's pumped. She got in. Yep. Kind of couple seasons worth of effort from Tyra on the show paying off here. So we love to see it for Tyra. We want the best for her, obviously. So good stuff. We go over to the school board meeting and it's not like I expected it to be like just coach and like some school board members like negotiating a salary, but no, they're like actually like having a
apparently
vote and meeting
open to the public.
Open to the public. Yeah. So it's a little more than a salary negotiation, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Joe kind of speaks on behalf of Wade Aikman, talks him up a little bit. Coach shows up, gives a pretty solid speech in favor of keeping his job, kind of lays it on the line, kind of basically tells the whole crowd what he told Tammy, I'm never going to be able to outspend Wade and Joe here, but I've done this job well and I feel like I'm just beginning.
I honestly had a little problem with this because I was like, okay, coach, you are great with the inspirational speeches. I thought he kind of half-assed this one. I'm like, dude, your job is on the line. He was almost like half pissed. Like, I'm here. He's just in his job because I've been good at it, which is, very valid point.
Yeah.
But then he was just like, all right, bye. And then, he's kind of screwed anyways, but I was like, come on. Coach Taylor, you're known for your speeches. And that was, I'd give it a 4 or 5.
Yeah, not strong. You'll like to see him show up a little stronger there.
Yeah, I wonder if the intention was for him to show up feeling already defeated, but feeling the need to at least say something.
We all kind of know,
right?
He's screwed, but yeah. But I was like, come on, coach! Like this is the time for that 9 or 10 speech. Let's do it, man.
I don't really see how they. It's politics, I guess, but what really would be the justification for giving coach the boot? Like he won a state championship and then, well, I guess, no, we had 2 years. Yeah.
My other question about this was Joe says, okay, Wade knows that an entry level coach makes this and it's not a lot, but he's willing to take that. So we all know that Joe's just going to be pushing him cash under the table. Right. But
right.
Yeah. It was very odd.
Yeah.
Very shady, but what can you expect?
Dillon just looking to save that much money, and Joe's like, this is my time. I can just pay him under the table and get my guy in there, or what?
Probably, yes. They got to get a new Jumbotron that they got to set aside those other funds for.
The other one's a year and a half old.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that big. We caught a glimpse of it the other episode, and it was a little underwhelming the way I had it built up from Buddy's description and model. So, But yeah, the stud of sud gets what the stud of suds wants, and so they're going to take a vote, and it's not looking good for Coach. Next, it is finally Billy and Mindy's wedding. Man,
It was everything I hoped it would be.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my son Hayes was sitting there next to me, and they started singing. The first two guys who were singing during the wedding, and he goes, "Why are they so bad at singing?" And I go, "Because it fits in with this wedding, Hayes." And then when they started the dance, and those guys were bad too. He's like, "They picked a lot of really bad singers." I was like, "Yes, they did, son," and it fits right in with what you would think for Riggins' wedding.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe that was the 7 Senioritas Cantina house band.
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. I didn't put that
Perfect.
together, but that's
Doing
beautiful.
"Baby I Love Your
We're-
Way" for the walk down.
Yeah, that was
Love began.
that was a great music cue.
Yes.
A great rendition. Yeah, great choice for the wedding party to walk down the aisle. So good stuff. I liked the white suits with the pink cowboy hats,
Yes.
pink accents.
Cowboy hats are nice.
It was good.
Going back to Buddy being a POS, you're not supposed to wear white at a wedding, right? He wore white. He was in
Buddy
the
was-
crowd wearing white. Buddy's a POS.
In Buddy's
Come on,
defense,
Buddy.
it was probably the
Donald.
only clean shirt he had.
Yeah, Donald, I should say.
Yeah.
Donald.
Old Donnie wearing white at a wedding. Good job, Donnie.
Jeez, darn.
Donnie hasn't done laundry in 2 weeks. It's all he had, mine.
Hadn't met coach at the laundromat recently. So.
Too busy golfing.
We during the wedding, we do learn Tammy lets Coach know that the coaching job was offered to Wade Aikman. However,
Yeah.
they are willing to, or they're offering the coaching job for East Dillon to Eric Taylor.
So I felt, I mean, obviously we knew that was going to happen because we had seen it, but I don't feel like you could have seen that coming had you not seen the show before. That's
Right.
a great season finale plot twist.
Absolutely. And it's one of the most pivotal, scenes in the entire series. We get to the dance, and I had to write this down, that Buddy showed up at all. I mean, let alone wearing white. But why would Buddy Garrity be at this wedding at all?
He absolutely would not be invited to
And
this
then
wedding.
he's macking on Ma Colette.
Yep, 100%.
They're falling right back in together for sure. What the heck?
Bold move.
We had some good times, did we, Ma Colette?
He pulled a Randall Brumbaugh and is just showing up to every wedding and funeral in town, I imagine.
Got to make his presence known.
Yeah.
Maybe they just didn't show in the 5 months later section. Maybe they just had to cut it. They originally had like some love scenes of Buddy and Ma Colette like rekindling the romance.
That's one love scene I do not want to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say. Yeah, it's probably better they cut that.
Yikes.
Old sweaty Buddy.
We've really thought up a lot of good stuff with Buddy that nobody knew today.
Yeah, right.
We've made some progress on the character.
And
of Buddy.
that's why we do the show,
Yep.
to dig up those things that maybe even the writers don't know about.
It's canon now.
Yep.
Did anybody realize the uncomfortable headspace there was for the band playing at the dance between their heads and the ceiling?
I did not. No.
Oh, it is like a 16th of an inch. If you go back and watch it, that lead singer, if he raises off his heels, he's smoking the ceiling. Like that's
Problem you've never had, Miles.
I've been on ladders before, Austin. Thank you very much.
No, so I used to be in a band and we traveled a little bit and we played in some crazy places like bank basements and like bars, like not how to, but the craziest place we ever played, we played at a roller skating rink once. Like it was obviously built in the 70s, but then there was like a stage on the end of the roller rink, and so there were like all these like moms and kids like skating in circles for the entire time that we were like playing a metal concert and like screaming and like doing flips and stuff like that. But then there's also, just like a 3rd grade birthday party going around. So I get it. When you're trying to make a go of it, making music, you play in some unideal situations, but they're used to the Seven Senoritas canteen, right? So
right.
I'm guessing.
Oh no,
that
was a different band.
That was a different band. Yeah.
Oh,
this is like a big
the
sweaty white dude singing at the dance.
Yeah.
He literally looks like a guy that attended the wedding and was just like, well, they don't have a lead singer. I'm gonna hop up there and rip this thing.
It did look like that. Yeah, quite the party they got going, as you would expect. But it does look like everybody's having a good time. Yeah, and literally everyone is there, which when you start to, these are the kind of things where you think about like, there's no way these people would actually all be together at a place like this, but we need it for the show. So
there is a scene a little later that I actually got a good kick out of. I did note it because Coach and Tammy are dancing and they almost like kind of directly, acknowledge this because Coach says along the lines of like, I don't know why we're here. I don't know Billy Riggins that well.
That's right.
I thought that was maybe a little nod to why are some of these people here? I mean, like I said, I was like, why the hell is Buddy even there? And then he's macking on Ma Colette. But I've got other questions, so we'll keep digging in here coming up. But so we get a little scene with Lyla telling Tim about how she's probably she could potentially go to Vanderbilt, and Tim tells her to go. He knows you were never meant to go to San Antonio State, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of reluctantly agrees. We get another little scene where Julie's talking to Matt at the dance about she's ready to break things off.
Yeah, she tries to break it off with him. She basically doesn't want to hold him back, doesn't want to have him like weighed down by a long distance relationship and talking on the phone all the time and stuff like that. So she tries to break up with him, and Matt basically is like, nope, that's not happening. We're not doing that.
No goofus maloofus from Matt there. You said no.
Yeah, he put his foot down on that one. He assures her it'll be fine. Julie makes like an offhand comment about, boy, grandma would have loved this wedding. And Matt kind of gets a look on his face. And the next thing we know, he's heading over to the old folks home and tells grandma basically, I'm busting you out of here. We're going to a wedding and then taking you back home for good. So Matt has changed his mind about locking Granny away in the home, which we hate to see it. She needs to stay there. This is a bad decision all around.
Well, and then he also says that he's staying in Dillon with her. So yeah, he's also throwing away his own dreams of drawing pictures, as it were. So
grandma sucks. Coach and Tammy, we see them dancing together. Tammy promises Coach that no matter what happens, no matter where we're at, no matter what we're doing, I'll always be beside you. I'll always be with you. Matt and Grandma show up to the wedding, and she's just super pumped to be there. She's very happy.
Yeah, we get the just everybody, Landry's dancing with Tyra, Lyla dancing with Tim, Coach with Tammy, etc. Then we get a scene that confused me. Is it the next day? Like the next morning?
Yeah.
Yep. They walk out, it's
There's
light
light out.
outside. Yeah.
It was super dark inside the dance.
And it was also super dark when Matt went to pick up Grandma from the nursing home.
Yes, definitely. This freaking show cannot keep a timeline.
This wedding dance went all night because like the dance is over and they're doing a big
send
end
off
of the dance thing. And it's like dusk or dawn. And I think it's the next day. It's like 7 a.m. the next day is.
I mean, Riggins parties are usually pretty wild. So
yes,
I guess you could see it happening maybe, but we're like Coach and Tammy still there. Who did we see?
Yeah, Coach and Tammy are still there. Buddy's still macking on Ma Colette.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, Buddy would be hanging on for as long as he possibly could with the party, especially if he can maybe have some time with Ma Colette. So that doesn't surprise me. But if it's an all-night party, I don't anticipate, or I wouldn't think that Coach and Tammy would be there the entire time.
They're the first ones out the door as they're like opening up, because Coach like says something to Tammy like, I gotta take you somewhere. Or something like that. Like he makes a comment about like, let's get out of here or something. So they are the first that we see. But everybody, the dance is over. Everyone's like throwing rice. Tim stops Billy on the way to the vehicle on I guess the morning after his wedding, and says, I'm going to stay in Dillon. I'm going to work at Riggins Rings. Billy's like, no, like you absolutely need to go to college. Like you don't understand what it means for this family. Like you absolutely have to go.
Yep. Yeah. Not just for Tim, but for Tim's future kids and for Billy's kid that he has on the way. They need to be able to see that Uncle Tim went out and made something of himself, that's an option for them. So,
as we know, Billy, failed PGA Tour golfer, almost.
Yes.
He was this close to getting his card.
Yeah. We do find out that Billy and Mindy are going to Puerto Rico for their honeymoon, which was a little surprising to me. They didn't strike me as tropical honeymooner type people, but good for them.
They probably have another type of Seven Senoritas Cantina there for them to hit up.
They're going to do exactly the same thing they could have done in Dillon.
Exactly.
Go to a trashy bar and drink, but
could have just went down to Corpus Christi, saved a whole lot of money.
There you go.
That's in Texas. Corpus Christi is in Texas. It's on the coast. For those of you who don't know where Corpus Christi is.
That's actually one of the few places in Texas that I've been to. So
there you go.
I did know that.
There you go.
That was when we went to Cabo. One of the things that really struck me is how many bars were designed to feel like American bars. Sure. It's like, why would you come this far just to go to a bar that feels like it's in? Doesn't make any sense to me, but people are wild.
So Buddy, we get a nice little shot of Buddy and Ma Colette being very affectionate here. So it's definitely going down again.
For sure.
Then we get the ending scene of we see.
Oh yeah, I put in my notes. Buddy is 100% trying to get back in Ma Colette's fans.
We see Coach and Tammy. They're kind of looking over the East Dillon football field. It's old, it's trashed, it's run down. It's looking pretty bleak for Coach, but we just get a nice shot of them standing on the field side by side together. So even though the football situation seems pretty bleak, I feel like we're supposed to see that like, no, but they're in it together. They got this, kind of like Tammy said, whatever you're doing, I'll be there with you. So that's the end of the episode. End of season 3. Roll credits. Now, usually we would go into the awards after this, but I feel like we need to have some Panther football story time, as in Platte football story time, and get the details a little more from Miles on Texas football. So we will be right back for story time with the guys. All right, folks, we're back. We normally do our awards here, but we've got some guests, and we got to take full advantage of that. So, Miles, I would like to hear, you mentioned earlier your first encounter kind of with Texas, what'd you say, 6A football? Yep. Yeah. Give us that picture. Tell us that story.
Yeah. So I got brought on to be kind of a volunteer medical staff for Geyer High School, which is a 6A school. It's the biggest you can get in the state of Texas right now.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know what to expect. I mean, you always see, Friday Night Lights, Varsity Blues, all this stuff about Texas high school football. So I don't really know what to expect. But we open up the season against Allen High School, who just built a $65 million stadium.
Okay.
for high school football. Ridiculous.
Jeez.
And this is their first game being played in the stadium. So the naive idiot that I am, I'm like, well, I'll show up a half hour before the game. It'll be fine. Right? So I pull up to this stadium, which is nicer than any college stadium in the state of South Dakota, just right off the bat.
You know, they recently redid what used to be Coughlin Alumni Stadium, so be careful.
Be careful what I say. That's fair. That's fair. I haven't made it back there, so I should bite my tongue there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I pull up thinking, I'm going to just park in this parking lot. Nope. I drive probably 3/4 to a full mile away from the stadium before I can find a parking spot. Then I have to get out, and I'm walking through what feels like a Division I college tailgate. Like there is people with like pop-up tents, they're grilling, they're drinking, playing bags. Kids are running around throwing the football. And I'm like, what in the hell did I just get myself into?
Yeah.
And so, of course, I walk up to the stadium. I got my field pass, so they let me in. Walk into the stadium, and it's 360 stadium seating all the way around.
Stop. You had to have a field pass to get into a high school.
Oh, yeah. There's security. Yeah, there's
like that in itself.
Yeah, this isn't Platt where you got like your ticket checkers at like two ends and you can just sneak in anywhere else. Yeah, you can't do that here. So, but yeah, so I get down and I'm checking out the field. I mean, it's full turf, field turf.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just kind of soaking it all in. And we get through all of our warm-ups and everything like that. And we're done checking our players. So we line up for the national anthem. And we're kind of sitting there, and the band's really not playing yet or anything. And all of a sudden you can hear this like little purring or this little puttering. And then all of a sudden you see like this little plane fly over the stadium. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, And then all of a sudden you see this little speck jump out of this plane. I'm like, what? What in the hell is going on? And sure enough, pulls out his parachute, lets the American flag fly behind him. He starts circling down, and the band starts playing the national anthem. And he lands in the middle of the football field, the 50-yard line, hands the game ball to the referees that are sitting there. And I was like, this is nuts. I was like, this is a high school. This is a 14 to 18-year-old boys.
Yeah, exactly.
We're playing in a $65 million stadium with security all the way around and people jumping out of planes with game balls. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, I don't want to mess these kids up. I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to get ran out of the state of Texas. I just got here. So, but that was my first experience of Friday Night Lights in person. Texas football.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
So they're not exaggerating on the show.
No, like
in fact, they're underselling it.
Right.
It sounds
yeah.
Like. Yeah.
And that's what I always thought too. Like, growing up watching, Varsity Blues and Friday Night Lights, both the show and the movie. Mm-hmm. Even bits and pieces of like Dazed and Confused, where they throw in how tough the coaches are on the kids. Mm-hmm. And you're just thinking, oh, that's just Hollywood, just a lot of drama going into it. Nope. It is true. Like Texas football is a way of life down here. And when fall comes around, like there is nothing but football. And it's insane. It's really crazy.
Does your team have a Buddy Garrity?
I would I like to stay out of that side of it, but just in passing, I would say our school probably has a couple Buddy Garrities. So
you can leave it at that.
Yeah. Man. So Donald Garrity.
Don. Well, the listeners might not know this. Texas football is a big deal, but don't undersell South Dakota high school football. Class 11A back in the day.
Yeah, I know. Well, I do have to mention when I ran into Miles in Texas. Well, I didn't run into him. When I saw Miles in Texas, when we hung out in Texas, hanging out at Tight Ends.
Classy establishment.
Got to be one of the classiest places you can go in the greater Dallas metroplex. But Miles said he specifically wanted to come on the show to talk about one thing, and that's Josh Kuipers' broken jaw.
No, yes.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Legend.
And I know you guys have talked about this on the show before, but we just have to go back into it because this is probably one of the most badass football moments I have ever experienced.
I was thinking the same thing today when I was thinking about this. Like, Josh has already told this, but
Yeah.
he needs a different perspective of how crazy that was.
Oh, yes. Like I said, probably the top most badass moment I've ever experienced, probably in any sporting event of my entire life, not just football.
It
Josh,
might.
how much did you weigh when you played high school football?
Yes, I was actually thinking about this earlier for some reason. I want to say that when I first, so I think the first time I started a game was sophomore year. I want to say that the program said I was 170, but that was like a high school football program where you're adding on 10 to 15. I want to say I was like 155 my sophomore year. By the time I was a senior, I was like 175 probably.
I want to preface this whole story with just saying that, like, again, I've known Josh since before I can remember. Josh is one of the nicest human beings in the world. Josh was like legit one of the most calm people I know. When Josh stepped on a football field, he turned into a complete psychopath.
Absolutely.
and that I was thinking about this earlier too, is like you and David DeHaan were the two people I always thought were like two of the nicest people in the world. You did it. Both of you were so small and they would play on our defensive line. You guys were both just nutbags and were awesome at football. And then, let's just continue on the story because it's ridiculous.
Well, yeah. And that's the thing too, is because, I mean, I'm not a very big guy in general. And like Josh, you weren't much bigger than I was. And you were playing center. You were going up with guys twice the size you were.
Literally. Yeah. There were times when I think it was Miller had that guy that was over 300 pounds. So he was literally, twice as big as I was.
But from what I can remember, like, I don't remember ever being pressured from right up the middle. So like you did your job. You pushed those guys around. So
that's because you were running 16 ISO over and over again.
That was a great play. Love that play. Love that play.
Sweep to the right.
Love that play.
I did have
but,
there were like that 300-pound guy specifically. I just remember the entire night, all I did was jump at that guy's knees. I'd hike the ball. I'd jump at his knees. All 325 pounds would just go on top of me, but it got the job done. So when you're 160 pounds, you do what you got to do.
You and Dave DeHaan and head.
Yeah, that's right.
But going back to senior year, first round of the playoffs, I remember coming back to the huddle, and this was in the first quarter. This was early on in the game.
Yep. Yeah.
And I remember
coming on at halftime, so it was at least.
It was in the for sure.
Yeah, because I remember coming back to the huddle, and you were already, the way we did our huddles, you were always the person right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just coming back to the huddle, and you were kind of hunched over, and I was like, Josh is never hunched over, so something's not right. So I was like, Josh, like, are you okay? And I just remember you like spitting, and it was just straight blood. And I was like, oh, this ain't good. And then you just kind of popped up, and you're like, yep, I'm all right. And I'm like, all right, let's go. So, we call the next play, and then we go out there, and we play the entire game, and we don't find out afterwards Josh had a broken jaw. He broke his jaw.
Halftime, we go into the locker room, and Josh goes in the shower and is just spitting blood down the drain.
Yeah.
And again,
well, he had to go in the shower. He was forced to go in the shower by our head coach.
I walk in there, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he's just literally blood running down the drain. I'm like, I'm not sure I can talk to you right now. And for some reason, you continue to play the game. I have no idea how you did it.
No,
it was amazing. You're a legend.
And let's go back to the fact that Josh played center. So and not only center, and he played both ways.
I was going to say, yeah.
On the line.
Texas football, most guys play one way.
Oh, yeah, you don't play both ways. Yeah.
In South Dakota, we're way tougher. We play both ways. And Josh played both ways with a broken jaw.
And he's playing the line every play. And it's not like me where I'm like quarterback or corner, where there's times where I just don't get touched. Like I either hand off the ball or I do like a fake backpedal because they're doing a running play and I don't got to do anything. Josh is literally getting hit every single play with a broken jaw. Ridiculous. Most badass moment ever in the
I
history
tell
of
that
sports.
story all the time, Josh, and I'm not kidding. That's not a lie. I tell that story all the time.
I 100% peaked at 18 years old in that football game. That will be my lifetime legacy, is the story of breaking my jaw and playing. Yeah.
I tell 2 stories of high school football, and that is one of them. And the other one is Shane Hurt. One time, it was our senior year then, and I was the defensive captain, and Shane Hurt gets hit, falls on the ground. We're like, they're already lining up for the next play. I pick him up, like, Shane, get up. And he goes, Oz, something fell out of my ear. And I'm like, what? And he's like, something fuzzy fell out of my ear. I was like, get up there and play nose tackle. I just shove up there. Next play happens, Shane falls to the ground. I pick him up and I walk him to the sidelines, and his dad is the coach. Mr. Hurt's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, Shane told me something fuzzy fell out of his ear. He needs to come out of the game. And he was just like, oh, okay. Those are my 2 favorites I will never forget. He's like, oh, something fuzzy fell out of my ear. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure did, bud. Sure did. Let's go to the sidelines. We can't run the same defense with you in there. Yeah. That's less legendary than breaking your jaw for the whole game. So
I don't know if this is true, but Kipe, the way I remember it is that I broke my jaw. I think you threw an interception.
Probably.
I was trying to chase. It was either they were running back a punt or no, because I wasn't usually in on punts, because that was special teams was like the 4 plays a game that I got to sit down. But so I think I can blame this squarely on you for
I mean, that's fair. Fair.
Which I guess I should thank you, because it's pretty badass and it's a great story, and it's, like I said, I peaked. So but yeah, that was
another story after that, Josh. I don't know if you remember this, but we went to like McDonald's for some reason. That was the volley. We went to a volleyball match. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
We went to McDonald's to go get some food, and Josh goes up and he had his jaw wired shut at the time because he broke his jaw playing a football game. And he was like, "Excuse me, ma'am, can I get some chicken noodle soup with just the broth?" And she was like, "What?" And he's like, "I want just the broth." And she's like, "Why?" And I was like, because his jaw is broke. And she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And she like strained the noodles and the meat out for you. So you could just drink the broth at McDonald's in winter. I think it was Winter, South Dakota.
Yeah, it sounds right. Yeah. Yep.
That's so funny.
Oh, bless her heart. Yeah, that I'll tell you, that's a long 6 weeks of drinking chicken noodle soup broth.
I definitely believe that. Honestly, that's the part of it that I think of a lot, is like, man, if I broke my jaw, like if I had to like drink the things that I usually eat, like what like would I have to eat, quote unquote, like that wouldn't mess me up texture wise, like all blended up. Like I imagine it would just be, I don't even. I got to give credit to my humble co-host here for all of that.
No, it was over Thanksgiving that I was wired shut, and so I tried to do like the putting the turkey in the blender with the gravy. Just meat don't blend. It does not work.
You can add all the gravy that you want; it's gonna still suck.
No, meat smoothie is not a thing. So, no, it was a lot of ice cream and like putting in as much like peanut butter and chocolate and as many calories as you could possibly get into it, right? You gotta drink all your calories. So there's a lot of that going on, but I still, I think I weighed 170 to start and was, down to like I think I got under 150 by the time it was all said and done. So,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now being the PT, I'm just curious, like, do you have any after effects from that? Like, do you have like TMJ problems at all?
No, I never have. Never have. And I broke it on both sides. Like there's a fracture on both sides, but no, I've never. The only lasting
fractured on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
God, badass. Just straight badass.
The only lasting effects are my teeth are crooked right there, because I had braces and then I broke it and they've put the wires in and it messed up my bottom teeth, but that's it. No, pain or lockjaw or anything like that. So
nice.
Yep. The other thing I remember about it is that at a basketball game later that year, Austin, you were shooting a free throw, and it was against Wagner, and they started chanting "broken jaw." While you were shooting a free throw. They thought it was you, and so then I ended up being like, "No, that was me." Hey, and I went over to the other side of the gym, and the guy who broke my jaw was there. So I like sat down and talked to him like, "Hey, you kind of screwed me up for a good month and a half."
Yep.
Like, so.
Yep, I remember that part too.
Yeah.
Do you remember who it was that hit you from Wagner?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just remember.
Probably simple.
No, he would have been gone by then.
He about killed me.
I just remember our junior year when we were mediocre at football, and we snuck into the playoffs that year. We played Wagner first round again,
Of course.
and
One of those
we
red
were.
teams.
Oh,
We hate Wagner,
the,
folks.
Yep, they're the worst. So, but I remember we were getting stomped pretty good at this time, and Coach Hurt was like, "All right, quarterback sneak." I'm like, perfect. So run a quarterback sneak, we get like 15 yards, first down, perfect. So what does Coach Hurt do? Quarterback sneak again. So we run it again, and we get like 5 yards or something like that. So what's the third play that comes? Quarterback sneak. And I just remember it was one of the Nichols brothers who were stout, corn-fed farming boys.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember which one it was, but he comes and he lines up over center.
Uh-huh.
And he just points at me. And I'm like, oh. Needless to say, we didn't gain any yards on third quarterback sneak.
That was the game when it snowed so much and they had to like plow off the fields, and Brett was starting his glove on fire.
That's my most vivid football memory is Brett Weir starting his glove on fire.
Yeah.
Because that was the game you hurt your hand wise, and I had to go and play quarterback. Remember that? Your hand swelled up? Was that the same year?
No, when Brett started his glove on fire, that's when we were sophomores. Because I only played one way that year because I had to play for Erickson.
Well, the one where you hurt your hand, you were as junior because I threw then I got put in for the first play. They threw a pass play, and I've been sitting on the bench doing nothing. They throw a pass play. It's like negative 20 degrees out, and they throw a bubble screen. I had to throw it to Mike.
Yeah,
Josh hikes me the ball, and I throw this complete duck over to Mike, and it hit the ground like 5 foot in front of him. And I run to the sideline. Mr. Hurt's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I've been standing over here freezing my butt off for 4 hours. What do you expect out of me?" Then you went back in, thank God. Get mine back in.
What strikes me as crazy is just, watching these athletes down here now and just like looking at the facilities that they have a strength and conditioning coordinator. We had a makeshift gym that was underneath bleachers,
our weight room,
the dungeon, like, and just the differences between what they have here and like what we did back home. And like, the thing is like, they have like top-notch helmets, top-notch pads, all that stuff. We had one set of skill pads, and Rocky Nelson had them. So being quarterback, I was wearing lineman pads. I could lift my arm halfway up. Like, how am I supposed to throw a football?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was like,
what were you doing?
We couldn't go out. Our school apparently couldn't afford 2 skill pads. So it's like, jeepers. It's kind of like when Coach told Saracen to go change his pads out at halftime in the state game. Yeah, we didn't have that option.
Yeah, I didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, we didn't have that option. One size fits all pads. Size. Yeah, one size fits all. Doesn't matter what position you play.
150 or 350. It's the same set of pads. Put them on. Shut up.
Oh my God.
Ridiculous.
Oh, man. That is the best. This is my story. I have one little story. It's not the same as Texas football, but so when my first job out of school was I worked for an orthopedic surgeon in Minnesota, and we had an athletic trainer who covered like 5 different schools around there. So she obviously couldn't cover every football game. So I went to a game one night, and I was going to be the makeshift athletic trainer, tape ankles, and then we did a lot of concussion testing. So I was just there for the game, and it was Marshall, Minnesota versus Mankato, one of the Mankato schools.
Mm-hmm.
And again, playing 11. We were 11B or 11A. We were 11B, right?
B, yeah.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. 11, probably smallest 11-man football. And all of a sudden, Mankato and Marshall runs out in the field. And I literally was just like, this is high school football. They were so freaking big. I mean, all their linemen were, 260, 270 to 300 pounds. I mean, they were out there. It was just like, what in the hell? They all looked like a bunch of doofs. I mean, it was just unreal. Like, oh my God. I was like, this is a whole nother level than what we grew up with. I mean, I was 6'4" and I weighed like at the max 195, and I was like, I was a big guy in high school. I would have gotten destroyed in that game. Bad.
Oh man.
I think one of my, just like going back and watching film wise of it, one of the best things senior year of football, when we were playing in the Governor's Bowl, when we were playing,
just thinking about this.
Yeah, Todd County.
When you were telling about the guy parachuting out of the plane, I thought, well, we had a helicopter.
After we did,
the 50-yard line. Then the governor got out.
Yep. Yeah. But we have playing in that game, Cody Schoenrock, who, pretty much, I think he went out like his senior year, senior year, and that's it.
Junior and senior, yeah.
Yeah, but like he was a farm kid. He was strong, so and like pretty good at football. Actually, not bad. But just didn't really know the rules of football. and Todd County goes back to line up for a punt, and their punter gets it, sends this beauty in the air, and he's just admiring his punt. And Cody comes off the side and just levels him about 5 seconds after the punt's gone. And you can see the ref just behind him just kind of shake his head and just throw his flag out and just be like, what are you doing?
I think that was the same game. It was for sure on that field that I think Rocky had like a punt return where he literally somehow broke like 13 tackles. Yeah. Like you just keep counting and you get like above the 11 players so he had to have beat somebody multiple times.
Twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet. But
yeah, Rocky had a hell of a game that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, man, I mean, that's why we got you guys on here. The good stuff from the Black Panther days. Austin, I don't think you've probably heard this yet, because I don't think it's been released yet, but there's something about, this was after Miles and my time, but something about ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, or was that like a chant on the bus?
Oh yeah. So my senior year, we joined schools with Get Us, which was an adventure and a half. It was fun, but we used to sing. It was a stupid song. It was ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They together go together. It's a classic combination. OREO. No idea what that had to do with football.
Yeah,
or riding on a bus, but we would sit in the bus and sing that over and over. That was like along with the "Who's got big balls?" Who's got big balls? Like those two things we would say over and over and over on the bus. It was a blast. I mean, one of those stupid things if you tell to somebody now, they're just like, what are you talking about? Well, but it was awesome.
There was an episode that I tried to explain it to Josh, and he was like, this must have been after I was done. And I was like, yeah, I don't know I don't know where it came from. I don't know what.
Legit, I could send out some text messages trying to figure out why we sang that, because it had to be from the Get Us and New Holland guys.
Well, the thing that I remember about it was when you'd go into the Oreo, we do that. And Brady would yell out some like catchphrase from the commercial that it was apparently from.
My first thought was I could text Brady Copal. He would tell us. Yeah, Brady would know.
Yeah, because everybody would do the "oh," and Brady would like shout out, "I'm Randy Jackson," and it would get more ridiculous each time. It would get more and more. Like by the end of it, it would just be like, "I'm Randy Jackson."
That's right. I forgot about that part, but yeah, I always remember the song. And then who's got big balls? Randall's got big balls, and yeah, good times.
Well, Thanks for sharing those with the world. Hopefully other people think they're funny too, but I thought it was great. Good stuff.
Yeah.
We probably should move it along into our awards section. So unless there's any objections, any other last minute things you guys need to get in, we'll
no, we've I think we've covered quite a large majority of it.
I think so too. We'll be right back with our awards for the week. All right, folks, we're back on track now. It's time for our awards. Gentlemen, we usually start with the Coach Taylor inspo rating. So we're going to do that as we always do. Season finale, you expect Coach to bring it. I'm not sure that Coach quite made it up to finale standards. What are we thinking, guys? How inspiring was Coach this week?
I already said it earlier that, when he came in to give his little speech kind of to save his job, I was just like, man, I think you threw like a 5 out there when you needed a 9 or a 10, man. So I don't know. Like it was okay. He seemed more angry than anything, which makes it obviously a lot less inspiring. So I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot else in there. I'd probably give Coach a 5, maybe a 6.
Yeah. It's kind of hard because we already had State in a previous episode, and so it's like we're past like the football inspiration. And
Coach really just gets pooped on in this episode. Just gets pooped on.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with Austin here. We barely get a half-assed attempt to maintain his job. I once again I kind of cracked up at his kind of almost fourth wall breaking joke of I don't even know what we're doing here at the wedding. I barely know Billy Riggins. Not that was inspirational, but I thought that was funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of skimming my notes here, and aside, I mean, we get that nice little shot at the end, not necessarily inspirational, but him, ready to go out and do the job next year. But yeah, I mean, I'd be hard pressed to give him anything more than a strong 4 to a 5. There's just not much to work with Coach here. I'll give him points for like confronting JD or Joe McCoy head on. But that's true. That's about it.
I was gonna say 4 is as high as I would go, but yeah, I hadn't thought about the Joe McCoy aspect of it. He does kind of stand up to him a little bit. So, but I think 4 sounds about right. Miles, you on board with a 4 for this?
Yeah, I figured that he'd fight a little bit more for his job, so that was a little bit disappointing. But he does show, not really in a speech by any means, but shows some good support with Tammy towards the end there. So I think that kind of creeps him up a little bit. So I'd give him a 4. Yep. Nothing probably higher than that.
Yep. All right. So, Coach, we're going to give you a 4 for the week. Yeah, not a lot to work with as far as football content goes. So, yeah, not bad, but not great. Julie Taylor hate-o-meter. What do we have from Julie? She tries to break up with Matt, so
hate that.
Hate it.
Especially at a wedding. Like, why kill the vibe?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
You've got like it's springtime. Like you've got a whole summer to figure this out. You don't jump straight into it, and at a wedding, no less. Yeah, I hate that. But that's really aside from that, the only other Julie that we get, if memory serves, is her getting the new car and kind of having a moment with Tammy. So I mean, nothing to hate there. Very human moment. So I'll go with like a 3.
That's the number that I was thinking too. That seems fair.
Yeah, there's really not much to argue with there. I mean, 3 is pretty fair.
She's definitely not likable. We're not going to go positive. So we'll just give her a nice, easy 3. Amy Teagarden, come on the show.
we've got season 4 coming up, and if memory serves,
yeah, it gets rough.
She's gonna be pretty consistently in the positives. Maybe breaking the scale next season. So.
Yeah,
this is what it was created for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. You think you hate her now. Just wait. Big Rig Beer Tally, we had a couple for sure.
2 that I counted.
Nothing at the wedding. Did you catch any?
Nothing that I saw at the wedding. I maybe should have been looking closer, but nothing that I saw at the wedding. I'm almost surprised that we didn't see any at the auction. Or even just at Riggins Rigs, honestly. Just those 2 at the beginning was all I caught.
Okay. Well, if the wedding reception really did go all night, we can assume that a lot of beers were consumed. But for the purpose of the Big Rig Beer Tally, we're just adding 2 on this week. Next up, we have the Alamo Freeze presents the Matt Saracen Aw Shucks Goofus Maloofus moment of the week. Matt kind of stood up for himself a little bit here.
I'm going to go ahead and nominate the moment where he breaks grandma out of the old folks home hastily and decides that he's not going to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
Maybe something he didn't put enough thought into before just diving right into it. I think that to me is Goofus Maloofus-y enough.
Yeah. Kind of the Matt Saracen Aw Shucks dumbass moment of the week for breaking grandma out.
That really had some authority in this one, though. He said no to breaking up, and he broke grandma out. I mean, he had some balls this episode, at least.
Yeah, decisive.
I think even honestly, had it not worked, I think saying no to "I want to break up with you" is a pretty Goofus Maloofus moment, but it ended up working in his favor. But I think in any other context, maybe not. Julie even says, right, like, this wasn't really a yes or no question.
I think we should break up. No. All right, next up, we have the Donald Buddy Garrity sleazeball move of the week.
Yes.
I got to be trying to get back on Ma Colette.
Yeah, 100%. He is going all in on that one. He sees the opening of, it's her daughter's wedding. She's, the alcohol's going, the love is in the air, and Buddy is making his move.
Who knows why he's there at all?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Aside from the one time that he was with Ma Colette, he has no other relationship to Ma Colette he's, I guess, technically his daughter is dating Tim Riggins, but that's not enough to show up at the wedding.
Yeah, that's you're several steps
because he hates that his daughter is dating Tim Riggins. He wouldn't go to Tim Riggins' brother's wedding. There's no other reason.
No.
Yeah, this decision is as easy as him starting a fight in a strip club. Like it's just right there. It's the epitome of it.
It's got to be. All right, so that's our sleazeball move of the week. We had some music cues. I know what my favorite is, but let's review our notable music cues.
Sure. So we have Something Good This Way Comes by Jacob Dylan. We had The One by Aiden Falls. And then my choice is going to be Baby I Love Your Way by the Seven Senoritas Cantina house band.
They need to get that version up on Spotify so we can.
I'll tell you right now, Hayes did not vote for them. He hated it.
Little guy is not having it. Yeah. All right. Outdated pop culture reference of the week. Anything we need to cancel? Anything like that? How'd this episode hold up?
I didn't catch anything, to be entirely honest with you.
My wife pointed out Julie's hair with like the kind of like the wavy hair. Yeah, the crimping, and then like the folded over one eye look. Like she pointed that out pretty quick. And
that's a good one. Actually, my girlfriend pointed the same thing out. And that's a good that might be the one.
Yeah.
That kind of makes me, just thinking about that now, it makes me feel a little some sort of way, I think. It's like, oh yeah, that hairstyle.
Get some things a tingling.
Yeah, that brings me back. All right, our quote of the episode. There. I feel like we've got some options here.
There's got to be some good ones for this.
I'm gonna nominate item 28. It's an owl's head that actually is made from a deer's rear end. Who'll give me $25 for the owl's head? Billy Riggins. That's a big owl just sitting there staring at you. It's cool, but no.
The only quote that I wrote down that got a chuckle out of me was once again, Coach Taylor at the wedding. You know, I don't know why we're here. I don't know Billy Riggins that well.
I don't have the full quote, but I like Tim's speech about why he shouldn't go to college, basically.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was good too. Yeah.
Yeah, right up there.
What's the name of the bar? They don't even have a bar like Schmitty's where I can just go relax and be myself.
Yeah. I laughed out loud when that one happened.
Yeah. Where's the me time? I think that's all I have written down. Does the IMDb have any listed?
I did a quick scan of the page and I did not see any.
Nothing there. All right.
Mm-mm.
What do we think? What's the winner, fellas?
I kind of like the Coach Taylor one myself because I feel like I've been in that situation before. Like, why in the hell are we here?
I have no arguments. They were all good, but that one is pretty funny.
It's good. I usually, and this has been stated before, I usually hate when shows break the fourth wall, but I actually feel like it's acknowledging a question that we came up, that we also had. So I appreciate the nod. That's good.
I did love the Tim Riggins quote about where's the me time. They don't even have a place like Smitty's. So I mean, I'm cool with that one. And I obviously I wrote down the Coach Taylor one. So I do like that one as well. So I'm good with either of those. Yeah.
Well, we're going to defer to our guest. We're going to be good hosts and defer to our guests. And we're going to go with Coach Taylor. Why are we even here for this week's quote of the week? Okay. Our MVP of the episode. Who won this episode? I got to think here a little bit. Riggins Brothers?
I was going to say Riggins Brothers. Yeah.
Nominate Billy Riggins.
Yeah.
Because anytime Billy came on, I loved it. I mean, the wedding was everything I hoped it would be. The auction was great. Yeah. And so, yeah, Riggins Brothers together.
The freaking landing strip shirt, I think, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
I was going to say,
pick one.
Yeah. I was going to say Riggins Brothers, but if we have to pick one, we got to hand it to Billy Riggins, I think, on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, and they got a hydraulic lift for $1,300. I feel like that's a steal.
That's a win.
I mean, good for them.
They want a Texas Longhorn. I mean, they killed it this episode.
Right?
They really did. We found out that Billy is going to have a kid.
Oh,
he
yeah.
got married.
Yes, yeah. We give it to Billy.
Automatically. Automatically.
Billy is never gonna be hired.
It's true. It's very true. Things
and on a
don't
finale
go well for
episode,
Billy.
no less. You gotta,
Good for Billy.
Good for Billy.
He's going to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Leaving the country.
On and on.
Congratulations, Billy Riggins. You are this week's MVP of the episode. That leaves us with our episode rating for the season finale of season 3. Scale of 1 to 10. How good was this episode? Let's put a numerical value to it.
Well, the most recent episode that we recorded isn't out yet. So a spoiler for our guests, we did give season 3 episode 12 a 10.
It was a 10.
It was a 10er. I don't know that I'm willing to go that high on this one. I don't think it matched up. Episode 12 of season 3 got both of us in our feelings pretty deep, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was a weird podcast. We went.
Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This one was good. I mean, this has got to be, I'm thinking a strong 8, if not a light 9.
I'm with you. Yeah. What do you guys think? I'd say the lowest I'm willing to go is an 8. So is this an 8
I
or
would
9?
go 9. I would go 9 because it was funny. There was a lot of drama with it, and then like you said, find out that Coach is going to be coaching East Dillon, which is a huge,
It's a big
pivotal moment in the show. I mean, I think that's going to bump it up to a 9.
Yep.
And Billy Riggins is the MVP. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been waiting for that. We've been waiting for that day, right?
We gotta do the cameo. We gotta buy Billy Riggins' cameo now.
He is on there. Yeah, he is on
How
there.
much is that? Jeez.
That's a good question.
More than you would expect. we literally, I think when we were looking through it, probably close to a year ago, we looked at all the Friday Night Lights actors that are on Cameo, and the most expensive, of course, is Donnie Buddy Garrity, who he charges $150. And Billy Riggins is like the second or third most expensive, and we literally were like, "Who is this guy?" Like his picture looks nothing. Yeah, he looks nothing like Billy. Like he's like wearing glasses. Like he's got a really like, like it's a weirdly nice headshot. It looks nothing like Billy Riggins at all. We had to like actually go, "Oh, that's who that is," and no, he does not deserve that amount of money. Like I want to say, like he's pushing like $60 to $80, which is what I would say, too much.
Yeah,
it's fair.
But if you want to get Waverly, that's on the cheap. Let me tell you. And the video you'll get what you pay for.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so to land on a rating, I think it sounds like we're all kind of leaning towards a 9. Is that correct? We're all comfortable with that. All right, good episode. Not quite as good as episode 12, but solid. I believe on IMDb this was a 9 as well, which is really high for the IMDb rating.
I was gonna say I wanted to look at the previous episode.
9.2 was episode 12. So okay, well, that's it. We're just left, as we have been doing lately. What's the moral of the episode? What did we learn? What's the big takeaway that we can take from what we saw, and how can we apply it to our lives?
Big question I was not prepared for.
Yeah, kind of sprung that one on us.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to life after high school. Because
I think that might be the moral of the entire show,
right? Well, this is just kind of like the mass exodus of like all. Yeah. Everybody's going off to college now.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Taylor is moving on to a different high school.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of the mass exodus from Dillon.
Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of seeing people going their own ways. And people are finding out that, there is life after Dillon.
Yeah.
And they're going to kind of start exploring that.
That's good. That's good.
Which, by the way, I know a Kyle Chandler in the state of Texas, grew up here his entire life, doesn't watch Friday Night Lights.
His actual name is Kyle Chandler?
Kyle Chandler, yeah. So my wife went to college with him. His best friends with his wife. That's how I met him. His name is Kyle Chandler. He grew up and was born in Texas. Did not watch Friday Night Lights. We're no longer friends.
Can we get him on the show so we can tell people coming up next week? Kyle Chandler on the podcast.
Absolutely.
My buddy, actually, I ran into I saw today in Brookings, who is a Packers fan. I know we got some Packers fans in the chat here. He was talking about some guy that he follows on Twitter had tweeted like as a troll move. There's some like receiver, I guess, that's an A. Rodgers that he saw. Like he got a notification of a tweet that's like A. Rodgers resigns, with the Packers, and he was like, oh, and then realized that it was
the wrong one.
Yeah, different A. Rodgers than the one that is currently, I guess, kind of giving him a little hell,
to say the least.
Well, I think, Josh, I like to go a little bit more narrow in my morals of the episode. I think, the first thing that came to my mind was, if you're just about to start a small business and you've got a kid on the way, and this is coming from somebody that's pretty financially irresponsible, maybe don't buy a steer.
or
as
be
a
good
mascot.
Or be good at what you're gonna do. He couldn't even get his own pickup to run.
Also that.
I don't know though. Are we sure that was a bad idea? I don't remember how to steer things.
It was 100%
idea.
Josh,
once again, he's starting a small business and has a child on the way. He has
to be honest with you, my first thought when you said what's the moral of this was Billy Riggins MVP. I was just gonna start chanting MVP, and now we say that I'm like, Jesus, that was an awful decision. We might have to take away his award. Oh, that was bad.
I don't know if we did get the number that they say how much they spent on the steer.
I had in my mind that it was 1,500. That they had 1,500 left.
That's not a purchase. Like that's not the purchase to make.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think the main lesson for me is if you finally get Grandma Saracen locked away in an old folks home, just leave her there. Just leave well enough alone. Don't back out. Well, good. There you have it, folks. It is not only entertaining, it is beneficial and good for making life decisions. Friday Night Lights, that's why we love it. That's why we watch it. Miles and Austin, just a pleasure to have two former Black Panthers on to get your guys' perspective. Yeah, thanks for coming on. You can let me know once we stop recording which parts you need me to take out for to keep your significant others happy and to keep yourself out of trouble. Just let me know, but we'll make sure we
Austin had Kobe right across the table. It was a wise move.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
She's gone now. I can say whatever I want.
Yeah. My wife went to bed at 9. So
yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, it's free game now.
Yeah.
No, it was a lot of fun, guys. Appreciate you having us on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was. I think it turned out really well. We were happy to have you. It's a good time.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get this thing spread across the state of Texas. So
once we get our foot in the door in Texas, it's gonna take off.
It's over for all these other Friday Night Lights rewatch podcasts.
We've already nailed down the West Indies. Shout out to our listeners there. We've already got the Laos thing covered, but if we can just get into Texas, that'll be it.
That's what I want my last thing to be on this podcast. I just want to say Texas forever.
Texas forever.
That's right. Well, thank you to everyone who has been listening, who has stuck with us. Again, shout out to our listeners in the West Indies. Shout out to our listeners in Laos. Shout out to all of you wherever you are. We're glad that you're with us. Check us out on Twitter. Anthony, yes.
Shout out to the guy who was it? Did he tweet us?
Yeah.
From Wales.
I didn't know that.
Did I not send that to you?
I don't think so.
He said, Niall said, loving this podcast, guys. Only up to episode 204, but at this rate, I'm listening. I will catch up very soon. Great work and always fun to revisit the awesome FNL. Keep up the good work, and I'll 100% listen to the OC Rewatch podcast if you do it. Niall from Wales, UK.
Nice.
Man, shout out to that guy. Also, shout out to the guy who went back to his Twitter feed going.
That's a girl. Girl, Marnes.
Oh, okay.
Girl. Not a guy.
Okay. Well, we
already she went to private, so we don't want to offend her anymore.
yeah. We shamed her into making her Twitter profile public again. So, shout out to that person. But yeah, check us out on Twitter, Reliving Lights. Please do give us a rating and a comment or whatever on Apple Podcasts, because apparently we're like gaining some traction there, so that's fun. So thanks to all you who've done that already. I think that pretty much wraps it up for the week. Any parting words, Anthony?
No. Great episode, great season. We'll see you in season 4.
That's it.
Thanks forever.
Let's touch God this time, boys. Let's touch God.